Hey guys, quick apology, I'm just back from work, so I feel a little tired, or if I start making no sense, that's why. Space War Codex came out last week. I've been going through it because Space Wars are fucking awesome, and I'm going to be doing a multi-part review, just going through the various factors in the Codex, starting with the fluff. Most of you know the fluff, and I'm not going to go into detail in the fluff because if you want the fluff, you can buy the books yourself. But it's got some fantastic fluff in it. Awesome basics on the Sons of Russ. A nice laydown of a load of important things that happened and that kind of pin the Sons of Russ and the Space Wars history into place. Nice description of the Death World. Icy cold, brutal, vicious. People have to fight to survive and have brutally short lives. So Glasgow, basically. Fantastic bit on the rites of initiation. This is my favourite bit in the whole book. I love the stories. I love the lore that goes behind it. They've got a short story here that tells of Erod, an aspiring space wolf. I'm not going to spoil it for you by telling you the story, but read it. It's fantastic. The artwork, I'm just going to hold that close so you can see it. The artwork is amazing as always. Of course, you've got all the great companies. Not much changes there from the originals. A little bit sad. I was hoping to see some Primaris Wolflords, but you can't have everything. In case you haven't guessed, I'm a Primaris collector. Did have an entire Space Wolf army. Had an entire Space Wolf Grey company actually, but I'm massively enjoying the new Primaris models, the look, the feel, the additional size. And as you can see, some of the people that wrote this book. Got some great colours, some great stuff. More Annals of the Space Wolves, again, more amazing and important things happened, including bringing them up to date with the current era. There was lots of talk of whether or not Russ would be returning. There's lots of hints and bits and pieces in here, but nothing confirming it. The artwork is just fantastic. You've got to get yourself a copy of this, guys. And then it goes on for basic heroes. You've got Logan Grimnar, Najal Stormcaller, everyone's favourite badass, Ulrich. Got Ragnar. Sorry, I'll slow down a bit. Kron, so any of you bought the previous Space Wolves box from 7th Ed, that's the hero from that. Harold Deathwolf, who's one of my personal favourites. Not a big fan of Canis Wolfborn, he's always seemed a bit too cool for school for me. And my absolute favourite, Arjak Rockfist. And not to forget Lucas. A little bit of change to his, clarification to his background. They've moved his womanizing days to pre-Space War. Makes him a little young, to be honest, considering the age they indoctrinate you. Maybe he just was a late bloomer and they indoctrinated him later. The next bit we're going to cover in the next issue is going to go back a bit and cover, give a review of some of the basic unit descriptions and fluff behind the units. Most of it's going to be fairly similar. But I'm just going to go into a little bit more detail in various bits here. Oh, God. I love that picture. It's fucking amazing. I will swear, sorry. The Sons of Russ section of the book is really good. Goes from the beginning of the Space Wars, their founding, their meeting of the Emperor. It's more descriptive, doesn't go into too much detail, but includes various bits and pieces such as why they worship the Emperor as the All-Father and so on and so forth. Counts some of the fundamental bits of a Space Wolf and tells you why they are the way they are. We've got the saga of the 6th Legion, which again, it covers things like why the Space Wolves aren't just one one chapter amongst many, one legion. It covers everything. It covers the Wolf Child comes to Fenris. It covers Prospero Burns, the Great Crusade, the Heresy. The Deathward of Fenris is nothing we haven't encountered before, but still really good. A lot of fun. Actually clarifies a few details that weren't always clear, or at least I didn't think were always clear. And has a beautiful picture of Fenris. The rites of initiation are great. Also includes the fact that many of the Primaris actually journey to Fenris to take the test of Morkai, which is actually really good to know. It's great to know that despite the fact that most of them didn't come from Fenris, they're still getting in there, becoming Fenrisians and becoming Space Wolves in the traditional manner. The great companies, again, there. You can see the Dais, you can see the Blackstone of the 13. There aren't any new great companies, and if you've read the 7th Ed or the 3rd Ed or any of the previous ones, you'll be familiar with all the great companies. We've got the classics, the Bloodmoors, the Champions of Fenris, the Blackmanes, the Stormwolves, and of course Logan Grimnar's own great company. Oh, sorry, I already mentioned the Champions of Fenris. It's got a lot of good details. The aspects of the wolf, it goes on about their weapons and how they love them and equip with them. It also gives some details on the Wolfen and how the Wolfen interact. Well, if anybody's wondering what the twitching is, I have Tourette's. Don't worry about it. It's just a thing. The Annals of the Space Wolves, really a lot of great stuff. Having read the previous one always seemed a bit dry. This is much nicer. The stories are much snappier. They're shorter. They're basically, this is why this happens. This is why that happens. Here's when these happened. You've got things. There's a beautiful one called The Wolfen Knight. It's literally 4 lines long about how Crom Drangaze gets an Imperial Knight on his side and he being his friend. There's some really nice stuff about the Space with the Blood Angels, and some new stuff covering details such as the Wrath of Magnus. If you've not read the Space Wolf books, I advise read them. The Wrath of Magnus covers the plot from one of those books. Again, not going to spoil it for you. They cover the fall of Cadia from the Space Wolves' perspective, and everything that followed that, including the return of Robot Girly Man. Logan Grimnar, everything you'd expect him to be. He's big, he's bad, he's amazing. Najala Stormcaller, he's awesome. Still includes the fact that in his young days he used to wear power armor and now he wears terminal armor. So if you've got the old model, it's almost certainly going to still be in there. Ulrich the Slayer has just gotten more badass. And obviously you've got the artwork there for Ulrich, which is based on the new model. The old model's amazing, the new model is even better. I don't think they could make Ulrich the Slayer better. He's one of the few 3rd edition models that still stands the test of time. You stand him next to other Space Wolves and he looks like a dwarf, but there's nothing wrong with being a dwarf. Crom Drangaze, still a bit of a douche. Harald Deathwolf, still amazing. And they retold Arjak's story pretty much the same way, but if anything, he sounds even more awesome. It's just a badass. And as I say, they've altered Lucas the Trickster slightly. Nothing that affects really his background, but something that clears up a question that a lot of people ask, which is, do Space Marines have junk? And if so, do they use said junk? And apparently the answer is, even for Space Wolves, no. Whereas there was a little bit of ambiguity previously because of the way Lucas's tale was told. That's it for this one. I'm going to try and get a bit longer one. I'm going to try and do a longer video tomorrow, covering the more basic units, some of the background of that, and how they've brought the intercessors in, and where they've decided to include them, intercessors, primaris, and where they've decided to include the primaris in the fluff, and how they decided to make it. There are some really good bits in that one, so tune in tomorrow.